Man, another Sunday morning, and here we are. Very excited. We got Blair Witch Joe with us over there. It looks like he's.
You caught me.
That threw me off right there. I was like, "What is happening over there?" But good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday. It's week 3 already, if you can believe that. We're already like a quarter of the way towards the fantasy championships. Hopefully, we've been helping you guys get there. Making the right start and sits and getting everything we need to get done. We're going to go ahead and do the intros here. To my right, I got my man Jason. What's happening, dude? How are we doing this morning?
Doing great. Looking forward to week 3 and a good day of football, watching George's hopes get crushed.
Yeah, gotta love that. Speaking of George, we got you on my left, right, whatever side it is. I think you're on my Yep, you're on my right. So how's it going this morning, my man?
Man, it's going great. Jason says he's ready to watch my hopes and dreams get crushed. Listen, we've lost 7 straight to the Buffalo Bills. So if we lose again, it's just par for the course. There's no hopes and dreams getting crushed here.
I can actually smell your tears. When you were saying that, I could actually smell your tears right there. That's okay.
Listen, buddy. I think it's going to be a good game.
I hope it's going to be a great game. You know, the both of those teams are just tuned up, man. Both of those teams are playing on the next level. Should be a great game. With me also down below, we got my man Joe. How's it going? Haven't seen you for like 12 hours, man.
That is true. So, Georgie, did you see that Bills Mafia taking over downtown Miami yesterday?
Taking over Miami, so you're confused. Most of the people in Miami are from New York. So it's not like they actually took over. That's where they live now. They got the hell out of that shithole state, New York, and came to the great state of Florida, and that's just where they reside now.
It's almost like George expected this today. He's ready. He's got bullets in the chamber. He's ready for Jason.
He's not backing down from that Dolphins train, man. He loves his Dolphins. He's drinking water. He's getting prepped, man. He's loving this. Alex, what is your take on this, man? And good morning, and how are you? And welcome again. Good to see you, buddy.
I'm doing good. I think it's going to be a lot harder for the Bills to beat Miami in Miami than apparently everybody else does. I think the Dolphins looked great the last 2 weeks. The Bills have also looked great. Don't get me wrong, but road game down in Miami. Miami plays real tough down there. So especially with
who plays like crap in Florida too.
What?
And I'm about to say it for the first time ever on anything live ever. Josh Allen. Josh Allen just does not do good in Florida. He doesn't seem to do very well.
That's phenomenal. Josh Allen just canceled Dirty Jobs.
We're just gonna drop him. Jason, you're up.
Oh, that's funny.
Jason, you're muted.
Just let Jason go. Just let Jason keep going. He's on mute.
So if you talk crap about Josh Allen on this show, you get thrown off. That's how this works.
I think I made that rule, so I'm actually very appreciative of you doing what you did right there. That's actually keeping people in check here. So well done. Good.
But you're the Josh Allen dude, so I think you're allowed to speak honestly about it if you really want to. You know?
Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, when he plays in Florida, he generally doesn't do very well. Miami hasn't been good enough where that's mattered. But I think that's different now. I don't think that's the case this year. I think Miami's proven that they're a force to be reckoned with. This ought to be an incredible game. For me, it's the game of the week for sure. We're going to go ahead and get through the housekeeping stuff here, guys. Make sure you follow us at toiletstitles.com. We have some of the best articles going on right there. I'm telling you, some of the best writers in the business are right there. When you guys since you're watching right here, make sure you go give us a like, a subscribe, all that fun stuff. And get on that, if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, make sure you give us a 5-star review. Even if it's a bad review, we'll still listen to it. We'll still even read it on here, even if it's a bad review. But make it 5 stars. Don't be a dick. There's no reason for that kind of thing. Like, let's help each other out everywhere we can. And while you guys are at it, join our Patreon, patreon.com/toilets to titles. It's got all kinds of different tiers, all kinds of different things that you can do with it. The Frankenstank is so damn fun, man. I mean, especially if you're winning. I found out that the Frankenstank is much more fun when you pull a couple of W's out in week 1 and week 2, instead of watching all your good players go away the first couple of weeks. But definitely has been a good time. I've definitely been enjoying that. But guys, that's enough of that. Let's go ahead and get started. Let's start answering our buddies' questions here. Right now, we got Dirty Money. He says, do we start Michael Thomas or Gabriel Davis today? Half PPR. George, since you're the guy dressed up in the Miami give up, let's go ahead. Let's start with you.
So I'm actually starting Gabriel Davis in our home league. I also have Josh Allen in that league, so that's kind of nice. I am actually hoping that the Josh Allen and the Bills do something good for fantasy for me today. But I'm not sitting Michael Thomas for Gabriel Davis. Give me Michael Thomas. He's the better of the 2 wide receivers.
Yeah, I don't mind a play right here. I don't mind starting Gabriel Davis where you have to. This doesn't seem like a have to moment for me.
Yep.
I'm definitely starting Michael Thomas here. Alex, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm with you. Michael Thomas for me, especially with the Gabe Davis ankle injury. I don't think it's going to restrict him very much, but yeah, I'd rather just put Thomas out there, who I know is ready to go and is getting the work. So
I completely agree with that. Joe, do you have a different take on that? Are you starting Gabriel Davis?
No, I love Michael Thomas. I mean, from a DFS perspective, he's 5,900 on DraftKings. So now at this point, we're starting to see old Michael Thomas production without, at least from a DFS perspective, the price isn't there yet. So I think this is the perfect time to take advantage of Thomas wherever you can. Mikey, there's a lot of, when you have a minute, we got a lot of injury updates coming in. We can finish this one off, but then real quick, if we can throw some of those out there.
Excellent. And then Jason, do you have, you're going to start Gabriel Davis, right?
I am starting Gabriel Davis for 2 reasons. 1, Jameis Winston with 4 back fractures did not look good last week. 2, he threw deep to Olave a lot. Olave's his big target there, especially down the field. And 3, Gabriel Davis is going against what seems to be one of the worst secondaries in the league. They're allowing, I think, one of the most amounts of passing offense and amounts of completions per route run or whatever, something like that. There's just a bunch of stats showing that Miami's defense sucks against the pass, and give me Gabe Davis, Josh Allen in that matchup.
I like it. So that's 1 for Gabe Davis, but the rest of us are leaning towards Michael Thomas because he's been on fire. But it's a pretty good point about the back fractures. The guy easily forgets about that stuff. Our Ukrainian buddy, what's happening, man? What's going on? Trans-Siberian early evening greeting from Poland. He says came through last week with the Bateman call. So here we are again. I think standard is what we're looking at. He needs 2. Allen Robinson, Kirk, Bateman. By the way, George, he used to live in Hobie. Oh, nice. Sound Go Fins. He loves it. I love Go Fins. Although I'm a Buffalo Bills fan. I like Josh Allen too much to agree with that last part. But Jason, we ended with you. Let's start with you on this one, buddy. Who do you think on this?
I'm going to stick with Bateman because, he just looks good. He's finally getting the targets he deserves. And I'm going to say in a standard, I'm probably going to go Robinson. He should have had 2 touchdowns last week. He only ended up with 1. He got robbed on 1. So I'm going to say Robinson and Bateman for me.
Okay, Robinson and Bateman. Alex, what do you think here?
let's see. Sorry, my wife's not home, so it's just me and the kid, and he's trying to bother me while I podcast, even though I have to.
Well, so while Alex is reading this, let me say, if this was a PPR, I probably would switch Robinson out with Christian Kirk, but it's not a PPR, it's standard, and that's why I went Bateman. And
I second Jason on that. I think that's a great point.
Awesome.
Yeah, I like that. I Robinson and Kirk are very close for me, regardless of PPR or standard, because it's not like Robinson's getting, a ton of targets out there. But I think I'd start A-Rob. I'm giving Robinson another week to make sure that it's actually happening, and he's not going to let me down again this year. So I'd stick with A-Rob and Bateman.
A-Rob and Bateman here. George, what's your take here?
So I'm leaning towards A-Rob and Kirk, actually. Lawrence has been hyper-targeting Kirk the last few weeks. Like he's become almost a must-start for me at this point. Last week, honestly, Robinson should have had 2 touchdowns, not 1. They called the second one back after the play, which it was dumb. I've never heard them call it back after the play, but yeah, I'm going Robinson and I'm going Kirk here.
And didn't they get called back for something weird?
It was like a medical timeout.
Yeah,
what it was.
It
was a kid. They noticed
they
noticed the concussion. They let the full play happen, and then they stopped it and said, "No, that play doesn't count." Now they still got a touchdown, but that's how Kupp ended up with his second touchdown instead of Robinson getting his. So, yeah.
And if Robinson would have got that second touchdown, it wouldn't be a question on whether or not you're starting Robinson this week. Like he would have been an absolute.
Yeah. It's a good point too. Hey, real quick, guys, I want to interject with some injury updates here because they're coming in fast and furious, and there are a few that I weren't fully aware of. So real quick, it looks like Justin Herbert wants to play today, but the training staff's trying to tell him to take the long approach. He wants a pain-killing injection. Looks like it's a game-time decision that's starting to look towards more doubtful. TJ Hawkinson's expected to play. DeAndre Swift, he's also expected to play. Jacoby Myers of the Patriots is a late scratch. He will not play today. Julio Jones is a pure game time decision. And the one I wasn't sure on this, Christian Watson's not going to play, and Randall Cobb's starting to track towards doubtful too. So the Packer wide receiver situation, and obviously they just IR'd Sammy Watkins too. So that's an absolute disaster at this point.
That game is going to be so. I don't even know if I want to watch it. It's going to just be Leonard Fournette and Aaron Jones just back and forth all day. Like that's
just pushing against each other the whole entire game, though. They won't even let the other offense and defense out. It'll just be those two.
Just them two, just back and forth.
That whole game's going to be memes of those two quarterbacks yelling at their wide receivers all day long.
So many eye rolls. You're going to hear it on the broadcast.
I wonder about the ethics behind saying that, okay, let's just go ahead and dope this guy up and let him play some football. So I would maybe back off on that just because of every legal fiber being in my body says that's the way that they're probably going to have to go there.
So moving over to the Herbert news, that injection he's asking for is the one that Tyrod Taylor got his lung punctured from. So, listen, that's a freak accident that happened, and hopefully they changed medical staff after that happened. But Alex is
they didn't. It's the same doctor.
It's the same doctor. And there was a tweet out this morning that they're going to use a ultrasound or a sonogram to guide the needle in if they give him this injection. Apparently, he had this injection earlier in the week. To help him go through practice.
Wow. Dude, I'm about to pass out just hearing you guys talk about this right now. I'm like getting woozy over here. I'm like, oh my God, injections. So, stop.
So Justin and I have started doing the TGIF show on Friday evenings. It's This Guy Is Fragile, and it's 100% injury related. We talk about the player injuries and whatnot. And Justin Herbert was one of the guys that we talked about this past week. And I honestly don't think he's going to play, but just a cheap little plug for our injury show that we started on Fridays.
Well, and I in most of my leagues where I have him, I've already went to different options, which sucks because I was counting on those points. But let's stop talking about injections so I can stay conscious for us here for a quick minute. And we're going to go with Justin Header. Yep, that's the great part too. He says, is he crazy for starting Burks this week? My other options are Lazard, Josh Reynolds, and Greg Dortch. Joe, you were talking up Greg Dortch last night. What about this? How are you feeling on this one?
Yeah, Dortch is feeling nice and safe right now because of the injuries issues there. They obviously are going to have to score some points today to win that game against the Rams. So, again, I don't discriminate between a first quarter touchdown and a trash fourth quarter touchdown in yards and points. And that's where I see Dortch again. I feel like is the safest, your best shot for 15 points, probably, in my opinion. So I think I'm a ride the wave type guy. I know Burks is looking good and has more upside, but for week 3 right now, I think I go Dortch.
Excellent. Jason, do you have anything to say about that?
So I think I'd probably go Lazard here. We were just talking about everybody out. He's going to have to pass the ball to someone, right? And it could be Romeo Doubs. It could be, right? But Aaron Rodgers, as George likes to say, and I don't know where George's internet finally got him. Now he's closer and sideways. Anyway, so I think Lazard, they have to throw the ball to somebody, and I think it's going to be Lazard if it's going to be anybody. So that's why I'd probably go Lazard here.
Okay, Lazard. Alex, what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, I'd probably start Lazard too. I like the way it's trending for Burks. It's definitely in the positive direction. He's getting more routes run. He's getting more targets, but I don't think it's quite there yet. Although they are playing for any chance of making the playoffs today, because there's like a near zero chance for an 0-3 team to make the playoffs. And one of those teams in that game is going to be 0-3 after this week. So they're both going to be playing for basically the rest of their season. So this could be his breakout, but I would wait for it. I would play Lazard instead. I think Dortch would probably be in over Burks as well, because Dortch has been getting tons of targets.
Dortch the torch. I've been loving it too. George, what do you got to say about this one, bud?
I'm actually going with Treylon Burks here. I think this is going to be his breakout week. As Alex stated, they have a lot on the line this week. Like there's almost a 0% chance of making the playoffs if you go down 0-3. And I believe the last 2 games, Treylon Burks has had like 20 targets. So he's getting a lot of targets. It's just a matter of those targets turning into something. And I think this is the week that we actually see that happen.
So I'm actually going to go ahead and lean as well with Dortch because instead of waiting to see something, I've been seeing it with this guy. There's very limited options over there in Arizona right now. So, but to anybody's credit, I feel like we're talking about almost the same amount of points at stake between Dortch and Burks. So it's really, really close between those two. For me, Lazard and Reynolds are just out of the question. I mean, I know Aaron Rodgers has to have somebody to throw it to, but I think it's going to be Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. That's in a 14-team super flex. I'm sure that doesn't change too much of our ideals there. 808DO13I3, he says, who do they start, Stafford or Murray? Stafford has weapons, but risk interceptions. Murray can run. But the Modern Warfare beta just came out. That's awesome.
That's great.
So, yeah, he hasn't been getting a lot of sleep. We do know that at the very least right now. Stafford probably has been getting sleep, although he seems like he's probably been getting down on some Modern Warfare beta as well. George, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going with Stafford here. Honestly, if interceptions is the big risk with Stafford, like you could say that's true with every quarterback in the NFL. Like interceptions are always going to be a risk. That's not the reason I'm going to sit Stafford.
Excellent. Alex, what do you think?
I don't know. This one's tough. I'm going to probably have to go. I'm going to go with Kyler. They're playing each other. They're both it's going to be, an NFC West, shootout type of game. And with the upside of Murray getting some points on the ground, I think that's where I lean, just because of the chance for some rushing yards, because we know Stafford's not going to run anywhere. So
I like that. Joe, do you got anything to say about that?
I echo Alex's sentiment right there. I think Stafford's better in every way. We know that, but Murray's gonna, from a fantasy perspective, 50 rushing yards, he gets in the end zone. Even if he goes for 10, 12 passing points, you're in the mid 20s. And, Stafford fantasy wise, other than the cup piece, has been a little weird to start the season. So I'd go Kyler here, even though I like the Rams to win.
Kyler. Jason, what do you think?
So I started this thinking I was going to go Kyler, just looked up some stats. He's 1-5 against the Rams. He has as many 0 touchdown games as he has multiple touchdown games. He has more under 200-yard games than he has 300-yard games. I'm going to go ahead and go with Stafford because it seems like the
Rams got him.
Got him figured out. Yes, sir.
Yep, I actually like Stafford here too, because the Rams have been playing. They played really bad week 1, but week 2 they seem like they're putting it all back together. I expect that just continues in a worse direction for their opponents. And I think Arizona doesn't have a whole lot of weapons or a whole lot of options to be. We got Connor who's questionable. I mean, there's just nothing really good going on right now. Look for them next week, or not next week, but a few weeks.
Also, Stafford has played the Cardinals 5 times in the last 3 years. And in those games, he's averaged a little over 284 yards, and he's got 13 touchdowns to 1 interception.
Ooh, yeah, that's a no-brainer to me. Johnny Shep says, "Is that a Waddle jersey on you, George?"
17, buddy. You know it.
That's it. Yep, hell yeah. Thank you, Coach, really fast for I've got so many shares of Waddle because of how much you were anticipating that guy this year, and I've been reaping the rewards. We got Brandon Williams says wide receiver 2 flex in the PPR. Scary Terry, Curtis Samuels, Renfro, Olave, Davis, Etienne can also drop one and plug in Gage or Perryman. So we got the wide receiver 2 in the flex. I think I'm starting Curtis Samuels in my wide receiver 2 spot. I think Renfro is officially out. I don't think he's playing today. From everything I heard, that concussion is a lot worse off than what they were first anticipating. It doesn't look like he's going to be playing this week. What's out?
Renfro is out already. Yeah,
Renfro is out. Gotcha. Then we got Corey Davis and Etienne, which I just haven't seen. Corey Davis, I know, had a big week last week, but I'm still not buying in quite yet. So for me, I think I'm going to do Curtis Samuel and Olave. Joe, what do you think?
Curtis Samuel for sure. I mean, he is my man. He's my fantasy spirit animal this year, 2 weeks in. That's tough after that. It's funny the amount of times I've spent thinking about Jet players this week. I'm shocked. But I guess I'll go Olave also. I just feel like that's a bounce back game coming for them, and he should play a role in that. So I'll go Samuel's Olave.
Awesome. Now, so I like Scary Terry. I just don't like investing too much into Washington that I don't have to, that's not a stack that I'm looking to get. Alex, what's your take on this, buddy?
I think I'm going to go, as much as I love Samuel so far this year, I think Terry gets it back, gets the lion's share back this week. So I'm going to go with Terry McLaurin, and like you said, I don't want to invest too much in Washington because I'd love to get Samuels in there as well. But if I have to pick one, which actually in my main league, I have Terry and Samuels, and I have Scary Terry going, and then I'd go with Olave. I think he's got the best opportunity out of the rest of those guys.
Excellent. Jason, what do you think?
I think Terry against the number 1 cornerback in the Eagles, not a great thing. So I think Samuels is going to get used a lot. It's going to be the 3rd week of Samuel out producing what we all thought. And I also like Olave. Olave had something like 320 air yards last week. Now, Winston missed him on a couple, and then when he did hit him, Olave should have caught it in stride, ran for an easy touchdown, but tripped over his own feet and then fumbled. But having said all that, he was targeted downfield like 6 times. Something crazy. Winston's looking for him deep. I think they'll finally connect here today. So for me, it's Samuel and Olave.
Samuel and Olave as well. George, you got anything to add here? We got basically everybody on Samuel and Olave except for Alex. He likes Terry and Olave.
Yeah, no, I don't want McLaurin. He's going to be covered by Darius Slay. Darius Slay is going to shoot all the field for the Eagles. Also,
it's awesome watching Darius Slay ball out, by the way. Like seeing that guy, he was so irrelevant for a couple of years there, and then bam, he's back. He's just it's good to see it.
Yeah, and the last 2 games, McLaurin only has 9 catches for 112 yards and no touchdowns, on 12 targets. So he's been bottled up. Carson Wentz has shown no issues whatsoever going to other options in both Dotson and Curtis. Curtis actually leads the team in targets. So I think there's an easier path for Curtis to get points this week. And I also like Olave. As Jason mentioned, going deep, Jameis Winston is looking for him. He had like 5 or 6 targets deep last week rather. And so I think if they can connect on 1 or 2 of those, it's a big, huge gain. I mean, Olave had 13 targets last week, 8 receptions, 80 yards. One of them should have been an easy touchdown. So, yeah, give me Olave and give me Curtis Samuel.
Excellent. So that's basically almost a clean sweep for Samuel and Olave. Rich and Brendan also said morning. I should have given him that credit first. And then we got our man Rich checking in. Good morning, Rich. It's good to see you, buddy. And he brings up a great point. If you haven't yet, like and subscribe, please do so. Thanks for the support. We love seeing you all out here. We love getting into this football talk. We got Dustin Hedrich again. He's a Patreon of ours, an awesome guy. He says, with Myers out, do I still play Mac or do I go with Geno Smith? Man, I think I might be starting Geno Smith here. I don't know why. I think Geno Smith might be the answer over there in Seattle, at least temporarily for this year. And the answer might be that they get the first round draft pick next year. But he's also at least fantasy relevant. Alex, let's go ahead and start this with you. Who you playing, Mac or Geno?
Oh man,
it sounds like I'm talking about food. Mac or Geno?
Yeah. Even with Myers in, this would still be pretty tough because Mac Jones stinks. But yeah, I think I'd have to go with Geno. He's got the better receiving option, so I feel like he has a better chance to do more, and score a couple more touchdowns. The Patriots offense still seems pretty stale. They don't know really what they're doing. It looks like they don't know what they're doing out there. So I think I'm going Geno Smith. Ugh, that's yucky.
Yeah, it's tough to say it out loud. What about you, Jason?
Well, muted.
Why'd you say something? We were supposed to go along with it.
Sorry,
I'm on board next time. I'll be on board next time.
Sorry, guys. I'm sick, so I'm trying to mute myself so I don't cough when you guys are talking. So, give me Geno Smith. Give me Geno Smith against the Falcons all day, every day.
George, that caused George to immediately mask up. Was it the advice or was it the coughing that got to you, George?
It was the coughing.
Don't know is Jason and I are in the same room. I'm actually 10 feet away from him. So, and I'm just sick. I wish you would have told me that last night before we started cuddling with each other.
I didn't know. I thought it's you that got me sick, George.
So we had a sleepover, or should we just get into this later?
We'll get into this later.
No, that'll be on Toilets to Titles after hours on Friday night.
This is a bonus Patreon episode.
Joe, what you got, buddy? Geno or Mac?
Yeah. I think Flacco was available on a pretty high percentage of the waiver wires this week, so I'd probably make a move like that, to be honest. But if not, I would go Geno Smith.
I do like Flacco over both of these options, oddly enough, and it's weird. Feels like we're giving advice from 10 years ago. Like it's like it just seems, and Rich says Mac, so he's the one guy that's standing out there. And we got another league. He's got Keenan Allen, Damian Harris, Michael Carter, Devontae, or Lockett. Who are we starting right here? George, let's start with you. Who you playing? Who you starting?
So I do not expect Keenan Allen to play. So I'm gonna rule him out immediately. So now it comes down to Damian Harris, Carter, Devonta Smith, or Tyler Lockett. Give me Damian Harris. Like, New England wants to run the ball. That's what they want to do. They want to run the ball, play defense. I'm not sure if anybody knows my feelings towards Mac Jones. And because I didn't get to say so on the previous question, I'm just going to say it now. Mac Jones sucks. Okay? He's not a good fantasy quarterback. He's a slightly below average NFL quarterback. So
notice the shirt that he's wearing when he's saying all this. Just throwing that out there real quick.
Yeah, he's a terrible quarterback. You'll see. But give me Damian Harris over all of these guys. I think he's going to get 15 touches and a touchdown this week.
And so I like Michael Carter here. Michael Carter's been seeming like he's been getting a lot of usage. That's who I'm going with. For me, he gives me the best opportunity, I feel, to volume. Jason, what do you got?
First, I got to unmute. I actually, I'm going to go with Devonta Smith here. So I'm no help separating this out. But last week, it looked like Jalen Hurts finally figured out how to spread the ball around, much to my chagrin, having all the A.J. Brown shares I have. But he spread the ball around, and a lot of that went to Devonta Smith. So I'm going to say Devonta Smith.
Okay. Alex, what do you got, buddy?
I'm going to go with Damian Harris. He's off the injury report. Whatever injury he had last week seems to be all but not. And with Keenan Allen, I mean, Keenan Allen would be the go-ahead start here for me. But if he's not going to play, I'd go with Harris. I'd rather have the consistency of a running back in there, and I think Michael Carter. I think we saw it last week where Breece Hall had a couple big plays, so I feel like he's going to start getting the ball a little bit more, and that's going to start limiting Michael Carter's work. So I'm going to go with Damian Harris here. Joe,
what do you got to say? I like it though.
God. My answer keeps changing as I hear everybody. I kind of actually thought Lockett was like the safest for like 10, 12 points, but the Harris injury clearing up. Mike, you almost sold me on the Carter thing, but the point on Hall makes sense. I guess in the end, I'm going to land Damian Harris. I don't love it. But Harris probably has your best chance for 75 yards and a touchdown out of everybody in that group.
I think he's got the best odds for a touchdown in general out of those guys.
Yep.
Can we agree Allen is playing? If you find out Allen is going to play, that we play Allen?
Not if Herbert's out, though.
Right, and that's the problem. Not if Herbert's out.
So here's the problem with Allen. Like, it's a 4:00 game, so if you're waiting until 4:00 to make that decision, you're extremely limiting your options.
Yep. So then that kind of brings us up to this next question right here. He said, Michael Ezra, he says, what does he do with Herbert? And I mean, unfortunately, the only thing you can do is go get a backup plan. I mean, you've got to have a quarterback that plays either Sunday night or Monday night as a backup to get ready, or get the backup plan ready now. I mean, that's your only options right now.
You can try to get like Cooper Rush if he's still out there, because he plays Monday night. The rest of the guys, I mean, maybe Marcus Mariota is still out there, maybe Geno Smith, but the rest of the quarterbacks are probably all taken in those other 4:00 games. So honestly, with where I have Herbert, with the uncertainty, I'm starting Joe Flacco in a lot of the leagues I have Herbert in, just because I don't want to wait until I don't have any better options. So I'm going to have to just roll with Flacco, and hopefully, Herbert sits out and I don't lose out on all those points. But
is anybody expecting Herbert to play here? No,
not feeling great from what you're seeing.
Injection, so it makes it a little bit more tricky, because why would he get the injection if he wasn't planning on playing? So it's 100% a roll of the dice.
I don't know. I think he plays. I do. If he gets the injection, I think he plays, and I do think he plays. The problem is, how effective is he going to be with that injury and that injection? And do you accept that risk? And I know he's playing the Jags.
Did you see that throw he made after that injury last week?
Yeah.
Holy shit. That was phenomenal. That one throw.
If he plays, I'm playing Herbert. I think he'll be fine if he's actually in there.
The Los Angeles drug army starting to sound better and better the more and more I think about it. Like, oh, maybe they just get Keenan Allen a good dose of some of the good stuff too, and get him on the field a little bit more. It's just, I don't know. I just hope that they don't do it. To me, it opens up a lot of things. We got Laura and Jim Cooperman says, need to start 2 in a PPR. Ayuk, Lazard, Corey Davis, Devonta Smith, or Dortch. We had
same guys.
We just had Alex drop out. We got Joe. What do you got? Who do you playing?
2 in a PPR. Well, Mr. Dortch is going in, and man, that's a tough one on that second one. I'm leaning Smith or Lazard. I didn't like Lazard before, but I mean, he is going to get some targets there, obviously, because they've got nobody else to throw to. But you know what, though? I've got a hunch in Philly. I'm going to go Dortch and Smith because I think Jalen Hurts is just going to keep getting better this year.
I like it. Jason, what do you got?
Ooh, I am going to take Smith for sure. I liked him on that last question. I'm going to say Smith and Lazard because they're going to have to throw it to somebody, and Lazard's the only healthy guy there.
Gotcha. George?
So I like Smith. I think that he's going up against the Commanders, who have already allowed 4 touchdowns and 12 PPR points to Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Josh Reynolds. So that's a mixture of both very good wide receivers and Josh Reynolds. So I'm not going to shy away from Smith. I like him. I think I'm going Ayuk with Jimmy G under center. I don't want to shy away. I know George Kittle is coming back this week. He's going to make his season debut. You still have Debo there, but I like what Ayuk was able to do at the end of the season last year with Jimmy G. And I like what he was able to do last week. I think they build on that. I'm going to go with Ayuk here.
Okay. Well, I'm actually gonna agree with you, George. I think I like Ayuk here. With Jimmy G starting at the helm, I think he's gonna see an uptick in some usage here. And then I like Devonta Smith. I like what I'm seeing out of Hurts and his connection. They're seeming to get together a lot here. So you kind of got a smattering of most of them. But I think Devonta Smith actually is definitely has most of your lead, and Lazard definitely has the opinion of our Jason over there. Alex, what do you got right here?
I'd probably go Ayuk and Dortch. I can't deny the target share and the routes and everything else that Dortch is getting out there on a team that doesn't really have any other weapons besides, oh my God, what's his name?
Hollywood Brown.
Yeah, Hollywood Brown.
Zach Ertz, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, Zach Ertz is there too, but Dortch is still the one that's getting a lot of the work, to move the ball down the field. He's not getting, the high leverage or the explosive stuff, but he's the one doing all the dirty work, in between the hashes and, moving the ball down the field. So I really like Greg Dortch this week. I'm chasing the points with him. And I think I'm going to go with Ayuk with Jimmy G at the helm now. I think that helps boost all the pass catchers in San Francisco. So,
and I think Dortch has a name that you would find in like The Hobbit or something like that. Like the Dortch, it seems, or like Ludo on Labyrinth. It just Dortch hits me that way for some reason.
Hey, before we go to the next question, Josh Jacobs is deemed good to go. Just got the update on Sleeper, so Josh Jacobs is deemed good. So if you picked up White and thought he was going to be a smash play today, he probably get more run than he got last week, but less than you were hoping for.
Well, and I like that for a pause anyways, because that'll let us get to a few of these sleeper questions. We got Nasser says, James Robinson at the Chargers or Gabe Davis at Miami. Jason, we'll hit this one quick. What do you got?
It's going to be Gabe Davis for me. I love him today.
You like Gabe Davis. Alex, what do you think?
James Robinson.
George?
My home league hopes it's Gabe Davis, but if it's me personally picking, I'm going with James Robinson.
That's another one, James Robinson. I like James Robinson's opportunity here against the Chargers. I've been liking seeing his usage as well, so I'm going to lean James Robinson. Joe, who do you got?
Yeah, I'm going to go Robinson on that one also.
Excellent. That's a majority for Robinson. Ray Dubb says he's starting Allen Robinson versus Arizona, Curtis Samuel versus Philly in his last 2 flex spots. Would you swap either of them for Damian Harris, Keenan Allen, Lazard, or Dubs?
No.
Joe?
No.
Anybody else? No? Is that a full-on no? Nope. You're going to keep on going with Samuels and Robinson. To me, it's a little bit close. For me, I like actually Harris over Robinson until I start seeing Robinson get a little bit more involved. But the rest of the guys are saying, nope, Curtis Samuels and Robinson are your guys. We'll go with one more. Troll69 says, trust Russ or go with Goff. Jason, go ahead and lead us off.
Goff for me. Goff's been playing great. Russ is not. That offense is a mess, and they're playing a solid defense in San Francisco. So I'm going Jared Goff.
I say it every year, year in and year out. Russ Wilson doesn't start playing football till about week 6, week 7. That's why they always get that wild card spot, come in out of nowhere and win that Super Bowl. George, what do you got, buddy?
Yeah, so they had to bring in a special assistant to help the coach make game time decisions on the field of what to do. Yeah, I'm not trusting Russell Wilson. I'm going with Jared Goff.
Jared Goff again. Joe, who do you got here?
Yeah, Goff. I mean, even if you think about it this way, if Denver's game plan goes 100% right, they don't want Russell Wilson going for 35 fantasy points. They want those 2 running backs to touch the ball 30 times and, do a little in the passing game after that and let their defense win their games. So, I mean, just from a game plan perspective, Goff is designed to be the better fantasy quarterback this year.
I like it, and I completely agree with that.
Hey, Mikey, I got one. My brother-in-law just yelled for me from upstairs. He's got a can I just throw this one out there real quick?
Yeah,
wide
absolutely.
receiver play. Aguilar or Duvernay today?
Why?
That's a tough one.
It's like a double flex. I don't know, whatever it is, 12.
I like Duvernay. I mean, I think he's been getting involved enough to where I like him on the volume play this week. Alex, what do you think?
I mean, Duvernay's gotten in the end zone both weeks.
He didn't get him last week, did he?
Yeah, returned a kick before he got hurt.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I still think I'd go Aguilar with Myers out.
Yep.
I think it just I like Duvernay, but I don't think there's enough to go around in Baltimore. I think, the Patriots are going to have to throw to someone. So, and Aguilar's out there. So I guess Aguilar.
He's their number 1 technically with Myers out, or
I guess
Kendrick Bourne. I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and take Aguilar because, like we said, there's not a lot to go around, and I think Bateman proved to be the number 1. So I'm going to give Aguilar the shot there and hope, because I don't like either one of these options though.
Yeah,
cool. Thank you.
I don't like either one of these options. I'm actually going to go with Duvernay. At first, I thought about Aguilar, but then I remembered Mac Jones sucks, so I'm going to go. I'm going to go with Duvernay. Although you cannot rely on him to score a touchdown. A 103-yard kickoff return for a touchdown is a fluke.
But he had one week 1 is all. But you're right. You're absolutely right.
So also, just wanted to go back to the talk about the Broncos coaching staff. It's funny how, if they had brought this guy in at the beginning of the season, because their coaching staff is pretty green, not a lot of head coaching or like NFL coaching experience. Like if they had done it before week 1, we'd all be like, yeah, that makes sense. They do it week 3 and we're like, oh yeah, they suck.
I said I was saying that after the game or during the game last week. I was like, he needs to get someone to tell him what's going on, because clearly he can't concentrate on both things. It happened with Sirianni last year too, because he was calling plays and he couldn't keep up with the head coaching stuff because he was brand new last year, the Eagles head coach. And once he gave up the play calling and could just focus on being a head coach, it changed all kinds of things around. So I think it's good for him. Hopefully it works out and it can help him, work through this, transition with the new head coaches and new quarterback and everything else. So hopefully it works. I don't know.
The problem with Russell Wilson, it's honestly like, he has always had a safe floor for rushing. So far this season, he's only rushed for 5 yards. Like, I think if I was a quarterback in the NFL at this age, I could probably rush for more than 5 yards.
Well, with that offense,
I don't think any of us believe that, George. I don't think there's one of us in here that believes you.
Because, I would be running for my life. Like, I'd be running like a scared little biatch in the back.
Look, they could drop the whole defensive line back into coverage, and George still isn't getting 5 yards.
A linebacker's going to catch George somewhere out there. We'll go ahead and move on there. Hopefully that helps your buddy out there, Joe. We got Andrew Helfrich says, A-Rob, Thielen, or Olave today. George, go ahead. Start this one out.
I've got a feeling about Thielen. I think Thielen's gonna ball out today. I'm gonna go with Thielen on this one.
I like it. Thielen. Alex, who do you got?
My initial thought, I think Thielen gets some work today as well, but I don't want to trust it until I see something out of it. I actually kind of want to go Olave, but we've been talking up A-Rob all morning. But I don't know. These are all pretty close. This is a toughie. I don't think you can really go wrong with any of them, but I'll stick with my Robinson takes so far today, and I'll go with A-Rob.
I don't mind A-Rob here either. Jason, who do you got?
No, I'm doing A-Rob against a really bad secondary from the Cardinals. Look, I like Olave. I would do both of them over Thielen, but Georgia's got a good feeling about Thielen, and that's, I've got them all relatively close. Looking at my list, they're like within 10 spots of each other. But I've got A-Rob, then Olave, then Thielen. So I'm going A-Rob.
A-Rob, I like it there. George, who do you got here?
Well, I already said Thielen, but I'm not.
Oh, you
gonna
did say Thielen.
a little biased because last week that 13-yard catch at the end of the game, Thielen had won me a league. So it won me the game last week. So I might be a little biased towards Thielen, but I think it's his get right game today. Like
I do. So now I like Thielen here as well because I think that Minnesota actually is primed to kick some butt. Primetime Kirk is always bad. Like it's never good, and so I don't really take a lot out of that game. I'm really high on Jefferson today. He's actually my DFS start that I paid up for. I just wasn't able to make the dash of DFS last night, but that's the guy who I was paying up for this week. And so I do like Thielen in this instance too. So Joe, you're the tiebreaker. We got 2 for A-Rob, 2 for Thielen. Who do you got?
A-Rob.
A-Rob. I like it. Now A-Rob, it's really close for me. And also we got our man Rich jumping into. He says he would prefer A-Rob as well. So
people don't know, but Sunday night is normally Christian or Kirk Cousins Bible study time. So that's why Sunday nights he can't play. He's used to sitting around and talking to his fellow churchgoers.
I thought it was his weekly trip to Kohl's.
Yeah, he misses it. So I mean, like you can't blame him. You can't blame the guy.
But he's like, we found out like Kirk Cousins is an East Coast dad. So we're like right around 8:30, 9 o'clock. Like it's getting close to bedtime. He shouldn't be out in the stadium tossing around the football in the pigskin. No, he needs to be at home getting ready to go to bed.
It's that perfect spot too where you can't get coffee to stay awake because then you're up till 2 a.m. and then forget about the next day.
Tell me Kirk Cousins shouldn't be Forrest Gump's son in the sequel.
Forrest Gump too. We got Ghostman Run says Sander Gibson or start both and sit Aaron Jones. Jason, what are you doing here, buddy?
I am starting Sanders and Aaron Jones, and don't you dare bench Aaron Jones with all those wide receivers gone from. Look, the Bucs are good against the run, although I think this year they're 15th instead of 1st or 2nd. They're good-ish against the run, but what they're not great at is it's those backs that catch the ball out of the backfield. So I think Aaron Jones is a fine play, and Sanders has been Sanders has looked very good, although Hurts ruins your upside as far as like rushing touchdowns go, but he's getting a lot of yards, getting a lot of play, so I'm going Sanders.
I don't mind that. Alex, who do you got here?
I'm gonna go Gibson. Gibson and Aaron Jones. Yeah, you don't sit Aaron Jones. I'll just put that out there first. But I think I'm gonna go Gibson. He didn't quite show as much last week as they were trying to come back and win that game in the second half. J.D. McKissick did a lot more of the pass catching stuff, but I think I prefer Gibson in that because they're in the same game. I'm going to take Gibson because I'm not. This also might be biased. I'm not a big Miles Sanders guy to begin with, and like the first week, 4 different people had a rushing touchdown. 4 different players had a rushing touchdown. Then Jalen Hurts had 2 rushing touchdowns last week. So his touchdown upside is definitely limited. So I'm gonna stick with Gibson. He's still getting the majority of the work in the Washington backfield. So I'm going there.
And I'm just going to say I'm as likely to start Miles Sanders as I am to sit Aaron Jones, which is never. That'll never happen in any instance. I don't have it. Miles Sanders is the new Myles Gaskin. To me, never Gaskin, never Sanders. For me, it's Gibson and Aaron Jones. It's not even close. Like I said, I'm as likely to start Sanders as I am to sit Jones. I'll never sit Jones. I love his opportunity. George, what do you think?
So don't you dare sit Aaron Jones. First and foremost, like you start Aaron Jones. That's not a question. And then this week you start Miles Sanders, and I'll tell you why. The Commanders have given up 16 PPR points the last two games to DeAndre, at least 16 to James Robinson and DeAndre Swift. Dating back to 2019, Miles Sanders has scored 16 or more points every single time faced the Washington Commanders. So you could be never Gaskin, you could be never Sanders, but always play Sanders against the Commanders.
I'm with George.
Okay.
I actually like Sanders and Jones together. I think Miles Sanders, that whole offense is just gaining yards and scoring points, and Sanders has been a part of that. He's not touchdown heavy. I understand that, but I'm not sold on Antonio Gibson being completely rebounded from last year. And I also agree on you don't sit Aaron Jones, but I'd give Sanders a shot. I'm loving that Philly offense. And I'm a Giants fan, so I despise Philadelphia, but I can't take away, with what they're trending upwards offensively and fantasy wise right now. That's for sure.
Fair enough. So we all agree Aaron Jones is starting, and it looks like the majority of the guys here are on Sanders, despite my hashtag barrage.
He's no Myles Gaskin, Mikey. Come on.
He's exactly like Myles Gaskin. Almost the same exact opportunity. Andrew Miller says pick 3 for wide receiver in PPR. We got Sutton, Higgins, Bateman, Gabe Davis, Curtis Samuel, Wilson, and Burks. Joe, we're going to start this out with you because I know you're starting out with Curtis Samuel.
Well, that we know. Man, can you sit Higgins? I mean, I know he's had but they're playing the Jets. So we're gonna go Samuel, Higgins. Jesus, I don't know. I ain't going Sutton, that's for sure. You know what? God, I'm looking at Burks and Wilson. It's crazy to me. All right, I'm going Samuel, Higgins, and Gabe Davis.
And Gabe Davis, I like it. Alex, you rose your hands up on the Sutton call. Who do you got here?
What do you got?
Yeah, I'm just confused of why you were so off of Sutton, like right off the bat.
I'm not trusting. So Russell Wilson, even in Seattle, and he had some great games, but he kind of had like that Matt Ryan thing going on where he gains yards and yards and yards, and they can't finish in the red zone. They can't score touchdowns. Judy's playing. I don't have a lot of faith in that offense right now, other than probably Javonte Williams. I'm just not sold yet on them fantasy wise. I'm not.
Yeah, I don't know if I could sit Sutton. He's been a big enough piece of that offense, and Jerry Jeudy is still coming back from that injury. So, if he gets hit the wrong way, he could, that could lead to more opportunity for Sutton. But besides that, I'm going to go Higgins. And so Sutton, Higgins, and the rest of this is a really tough one because Garrett Wilson showed out. I think he's a good start this week if you want, but I don't know if he's good enough to start over those other guys. I think I'm going to have to. It's not that I don't like Curtis Samuel because I feel like I'm dogging on him in all of these questions, but I think I like Bateman more. I think I'm going to have to go with the first 3 right there, Sutton, Higgins, and Bateman as my 3 wide receivers. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to go with.
That's a nice deep group of wideouts in the league, though. I'll tell you that.
It really is. Yeah, no, that's a good problem to definitely have. George, what is your take here, bud?
So I'm going Sutton and I'm going Bateman. Give me both of those guys. I'm not going to sit either one. And as long as Joe Flacco is the quarterback, I am not going to sit Garrett Wilson. Like, he has just been on fire the last 2 weeks. So give me Sutton, give me Bateman, and give me Garrett Wilson.
That's funny because that's actually who I was on, was that exact lineup right there. What about you, Jason?
So I'm not going to be in. I mean, Sutton is in. Higgins is in. I don't know how you sit Higgins.
Yeah.
And then for me, I literally have Bateman and Gabe Davis back to back, and I have Gabe Davis one ahead of Bateman. But now I'm questioning that in my soul. So I'm going to go the first three here and just say Sutton, Higgins, and Bateman. So I don't know how much
start Sanders or Gaskins.
I don't know. I don't know how that helps the guy who asked the question, because like we were all over the place with that third one. Like Andrew Miller, your wide receivers are awesome. Go trade for like a running back or a stud wide receiver. Take a couple of these guys,
package them up
and get somebody. That way you don't have to have this question. But for me, Sutton and Higgins, especially with Judy having the injury now, if he plays, he plays. But I don't know, maybe a decoy out there, maybe he's limited. And I think Sutton and Higgins are home runs. And then for me, it's between Bateman and Gabe Davis, and I'm doing Bateman. Ugh.
I like it. Yeah, I mean, at least broke it down and gave you something to go off the decision making there. We got our man Uncle Steve saying good morning. It's Connor versus the Rams, Dylan versus Tampa Bay. There's just, to me, there's so many limited options out there in Green Bay that you have to go with the ones that are out there that are actually getting the ball usage. For me, this is Dylan. Jason, who do you got?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go Dylan as well. Does anybody have an idea of like, is Connor 100% healthy? I know he's playing.
Yeah, but it's an ankle injury. He's notorious for these ankle injuries, and then
not
lingering.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to go Dylan against Tampa versus Connor versus the Rams.
As of 8:21, Connor's tracking to play, but he's definitely not 100%.
Yeah. No, I'd go Dylan here as well, especially with the James Conner injury. It would even be close for me if Connor was 100%. But with that injury, I'm trying not to trust him in any of my lineups today. I'm getting him out as many places as I can, as long as I have, a respectable replacement.
I like it. Yeah.
I'm going to go with Dylan versus Tampa as well, but I'm also going to temper my expectations. Like it was mentioned earlier by Jason, Tampa is very good at stopping the run. So in order for Dylan to have a big viable fantasy day, he's got to either punch a touchdown in, which is odds are not very good against that defense, and they're going to get a rushing touchdown. And then he's got to be involved in the passing game. And last week he only got one reception. So they're going to lean on Aaron Jones in the receiving game. So you're really, really hoping that Dylan gets involved in the passing game as well, like he did in week 1. But I like his outlook a lot better than James Conner, but I'm also tempering expectations on Dylan this week.
Yep, I think Dylan is the definite play then there. We'll go ahead and move on to the next one. Unless are any of you guys playing Connor right here? No. Okay, gotcha. We got Chad Ron. Chad Roan says, subtitle holders, we need some flex help. We got a 14-team non-PPR. We got Drake London, Garrett Wilson, or Breece Hall for the start on the flex. George, start us out. What do you got? Who are you starting?
So normally in these situations, I always say go with the running back, right? Like it's a non-PPR. So even if they go out and get 8 for 80, like you're only getting 8 points for the wide receivers because those receptions don't count. But there is no way I can sit Drake London at this point. He is my rookie of the year. He has balled out the last 2 weeks. I expect the Falcons to be down and have to throw the ball. So I'm going to the well with Drake London, even over Breece Hall, who I actually really do like this week.
Yep, I do like all three of these guys quite a bit. I'm actually leaning Drake London myself. Jason, who do you got?
So I am going to go ahead and play Drake London as well, because I do think the touchdown upside's there for him.
I like it. Joe, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm with London. Hall just not quite getting enough touches for me yet, so I go London there.
Again, I mean, I like all three of these options. I think actually all three of these options are plus probably 75% to score a touchdown at least. But But I feel like Drake London's the one that definitely punches it in. What about you, Alex?
Yeah, I'm going to be the odd man out. I'm going to actually go with Garrett Wilson. I really like the way he looked last week. I understand all the Drake London love, but it's still the Falcon. It's very, very close for me. If Brees had a little bit more opportunity last week, and like I think this could be a breakout, a better game for him, and I think this could be the beginning of the breakout. But I haven't quite seen it yet, so Hall's kind of off the docket for me. So, but I'm going to go with Garrett Wilson. I like Drake London too. I think they're both good options, but I really like the way Wilson's been looking the last couple of weeks, especially with Joe Flacco in there. So
Garrett Wilson, like I said, that's what I've been saying this whole time. I mean, all three of these guys look like they're up and coming and starting to learn that NFL. I'm very excited to see what kind of future all three of these guys bring to the table. We got a man, Shay, tweeted that, says, in a league where you can't add anyone, waivers go through on Monday, so do you risk Herbert or just start Tanny in a 2-quarterback league? I can't risk Herbert. I'm not confident in that. I'm playing Tanny. Joe, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I can't risk a 0 in my lineup, so you got to go Tanny.
Yep. Alex?
Yep. Same thing for
starting
me.
Tanny. Jason, you starting Herbert?
No, I'm starting Tannehill.
I like it. Joe or George. I was almost called you Joe, George.
That's okay. I've been called a lot worse.
Thank you.
I'm definitely going Tannehill, and I highly recommend that you, in the offseason, you petition to get this rule changed. If not, if possible, leave this league. There's no way I'm playing in a league where I can't make a waiver change on Sunday morning. Like, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah, especially with the questionable rule, tag out there and things like that. It just isn't. Some of these times you got to make a decision like right there at the very last second, and there's nothing worse than popping up on your player page and seeing W Saturday or Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever it is in your respective league, but you know that you don't get to make a change. It's frustrating. And I mean, I understand maybe you should be a little bit ahead of it or whatnot, but again, you don't want to clog your roster with things that where you're going to have a guy having a different opportunity. We got Chris's videos.
Wait, can I bring something
Absolutely.
up with that last one? So his two options are Tannehill and Herbert. So I actually have a league where I have Tannehill on my bench and then Herbert's my starter. It's just a 1 QB league. But there are some other options out there. Would you rather start any of these guys over Tannehill if you have Herbert going today? Just for other people that might have Herbert and there might be other options out there.
And they're in leagues that are more flexible towards letting you get out.
Yes. Yeah, and like first come, first serve free agency and stuff. So like Jimmy G, would you start Jimmy G over Tannehill?
I think I would.
Say that again.
I would.
Yeah. What about, let's see, Joe Flacco?
I think I would this week.
Tannehill's got such a stronger matchup than Jimmy G, though. San Francisco's at Denver, right?
Yeah.
And Tannehill's home against the Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I think I'd probably go Tannehill there.
I might actually. Yeah, I forgot about that. I think Tannehill actually is my pull there. But that's, you found my line.
Yeah, but so Joe Flacco, who's been throwing 50 times a game, how about that one?
I'm going to go Tannehill there because like most of Joe Flacco's points came in like the last 2 minutes of the game, where they had the 2 touchdowns to come back to win the game. I don't expect that to happen every week.
Okay. There's one more decent one here. What about Baker Mayfield?
Tannehill.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I figured.
Tannehill at this point, yeah.
Okay. Well, hey, we found the line because that Jimmy G one was real close. So.
That's awesome. We got Chris's video, says Christian Kirk or Pittman Jr. Alex, we'll go ahead and let you lead this one off.
If Pittman's playing, I can't sit him for pretty much anyone.
I like that answer.
Kirk is great. I'm loving Kirk's over 20 both weeks, but I mean, again, Pittman's right for trash points this week, right? Kansas City, they're gonna need to throw. They'll probably be losing in the fourth quarter.
They'll be losing in the second quarter.
Losing an earpiece, despite having the biggest ears out of everybody in toilets to tell.
They're actually already down 21-0. Yeah. So, what about you, Jason? Who do you got right here?
Yeah, I'm going Pittman Jr. too because he can have a wide receiver number 1 overall type day, where I think Christian Kirk can be a wide receiver 1. I think Pittman has the ability to be the number 1 of the week. So I'm going to go Pittman.
I like it. I like it. George, who do you got?
I'm leaning actually towards Christian Kirk, actually. Through 2 games, 195 yards and 2 touchdowns. No J.C. Jackson for the Chargers. Michael Pittman is coming back from an injury, so he missed last week. Not sure if he's actually 100% healthy. Kirk has just been an absolute fantasy stud for the guys that have drafted him. He's lived up to his contract so far. I think Lawrence is going to pepper him again with targets, so I'm actually going to go with Christian Kirk.
And I'm going to make that vote 2-3 with you, George. I'm actually on Christian Kirk as well. I've been liking his usage. Pittman coming back from his injury does scare me, so I'm actually out on Pittman Jr. today, but like I said, there should be plenty of opportunity for Pittman Jr. to get involved if he's out there at full capacity. He should get peppered. Chris's videos also says start 2. We got London, Mike Williams, Gabe Davis, or Curtis Samuel. I'll go ahead and lead this one off. I'm not sitting Mike Williams, especially with the questionable Keenan Allen. And for my other guy, I think Curtis Samuel's been getting involved enough. But Drake London's just been on fire. So for me, it's these first 2. It's London and Mike Williams. George, we'll start with you.
I agree with you 100%. It's London and it's Mike Williams.
Excellent. Joe, do you got something else to say about that? Because you're going to say Curtis Samuel right here, aren't you?
No, I don't want to. But, I mean, if Herbert's not playing, I hate to be leaning on a backup quarterback. But Mike Williams, I'll stay the course. I'll stick with London.
London and Williams.
I'm not going to sleep well though. Let me tell you something. I lose that game by 10.
Not happy about it, but he's going to pick those.
If I lose that game by 10 and Samuel's got 18 on my bench and Williams has got 11 or something, I'm going to be pissed off.
You're going to leave us a 5-star review that's worth reading?
Yeah, exactly. Right.
What about you, Alex?
Well, if you lose by 10 and Mike Williams,
I know you got me on the math.
Anyway, I think it's London and Williams for me as well. I think we said, if he gets the injection, Herbert's going to play, right? So we're assuming he's going to play, or we're hoping he's going to play. I don't know.
Would you go Williams though if he doesn't play?
Yeah, see, that's where that scares the hell out of me. I'd probably go Curtis Samuel and London if it's Chase Daniels in there. Yeah, I think that's what I'd have to go.
I'm gonna hedge my bets and just go ahead and say London and Gabe Davis and make this one easy on everybody, on myself, because we've been saying that Herbert's not playing, like we've been pretending like he's not playing this whole show. So I'm not gonna now say, oh, he's gonna play, and I want Chase Daniels to throw the pass to Mike Williams all game long. So I'm going to say London and Gabe Davis.
Okay. Well, I like Gabe Davis a lot too, as long as he's out there, and you know how I feel about anybody who's got Josh Allen throwing him the ball. Already getting uptick from me. Chris's video says also Patterson, Hall, or James Conner today. Jason, start us off. Who do you got here?
Oof, I don't like any of this. I'm gonna probably say Patterson because he's healthy. Hall's sharing time, and James Conner is coming off that injury, the ankle. So I'm gonna say Patterson.
I like it. I'm actually gonna go with Patterson here too. Alex, who do you got?
Yeah, Patterson until Hall gets more work. It's very close though, because I think this is a breakout opportunity for Hall, but I think I'm going to stick with Cordero until we see it from Hall.
Until we see Flacco, maybe calm that smoking arm down a little bit. Joe, who do you got here, bud?
I'll go Patterson. I'd ask this question though, because I know that college isn't my strong point. Rookies, are we excited for the rookie behind Patterson, Algier, or whatever? Or do we? No, not for this year. Or in general?
I like him a lot. I thought to me he's got a big build that I look for in a running back coming out of college. So I'm definitely heavily invested in him. It doesn't look like they're giving him a ton of opportunity to start things out, but it doesn't seem like they're really in a lot of situations where running the ball is the viable solution to winning football games either. So for me, he's going to be a guy that kind of develops on the slower end of things until they get like maybe a little bit more of a solidified line established there, and maybe get Rither involved a little bit more, and maybe start turning that offense over towards the youth. Then I think we start seeing a little bit of a heavier dose of him, but I think there's no need to rush him, unfortunately, in that. But that's my take on that. And I think I'm probably our most, maybe not, but I think I do more of the Desi stuff than most here that I'm aware of. So that's, I was really high on him coming in. I didn't really like to see him be a Falcon, but again, I mean, he's young enough and they're young enough that it could actually work out pretty well for him in the long run.
Thank you, sir.
Anybody else? Is anybody here starting Haller, Connor? I think we all decided on Patterson there.
No, it's Patterson. They split carries last week. They both had 10 carries. But the first 2 weeks, the Falcons have played the Rams and the Saints, who we both agree, or we all should agree, really are two better defenses in the NFL. Speaking of Tyler Algier, he only got on the field for 31% of the plays last week, though. So even though he split carries, he's not getting on the field enough to be viable to cut into Patterson's workload. This is a much, much better defense for Patterson playing in the Broncos. So Seattle. So I'm going to lean on Patterson here over Hall and Connor.
Excellent.
Cordell Patterson's got the most interesting fantasy football career, in my opinion, of any player in the history of fantasy
crazy,
football players.
Right? Like I'm gonna be non-fantasy viable for half a decade, and then I'm gonna be a guy that's gonna put up 90 points a game.
Yeah, as a running back, all of us like what?
Yeah, as a running back, right? I went from a wide receiver kick returner to a very fanciful. Yeah, no, but it's wild. It's definitely one of those guys. I don't think you see a whole awful lot of people that can do that, or that do that anyways. I'm sure a lot of them can. It's just that nobody ever gives them the opportunity. We got Evan Gittleman says, need a wide receiver in flex help. We got Juju or Jahan Dotson for his wide receiver slot. And for the flex, he needs to pick Michael Carter, Etienne, Juju, or Dotson. Joe, let's lead you off with this one. What do you think? Who are you doing right here? We're going to need a wide receiver first. Who do we got? And then let's go with the flex next.
Yeah, I'd love to hear everybody's thoughts on Juju in his first 2 weeks in KC, because it's been kind of interesting. God, I guess Dotson's looked pretty good. I believe he's gotten in the end zone both weeks, right?
Yes,
I guess you got, you got to go Dotson there. So then I'm picking one out of that bottom four. No, well, I'm already playing Dotson. So now it's a flex out of Carter and Juju. Michael Carter, I guess. So I guess I'm going Dotson and Carter. But I would love to know you guys' thoughts and somebody's thoughts on Juju, because I have him in some of my leagues and I ain't got a freaking clue what to do with him at this point.
Jason, how do you feel about Juju? And then hit us with your wide receiver and then your flex.
I feel like coming into the season, I thought Juju was going to be good, and he just hasn't been. I don't know if it's just bad chemistry. He's not going to breakfast. What the deal is?
Bad Juju.
Yeah, I didn't want to go. I didn't want to go there.
It's perfect. It's right there.
I didn't want to. It was easy. I wasn't going to go with it. But
look, I'm eating the low hanging fruit every chance I'm going to get.
Mike's easy, so we're going. But look, I can see it turning around mid-season. You know, I can see all of a sudden them getting a connection. They, maybe they visit Sesame Street together or something. I don't know, but I'm not on Juju until I actually see some of that chemistry. So it for me is Jahan Dotson, and then if I had to go with one of these other guys, I'm gonna say, man, this hurts. I'm gonna say Etienne, who I was really high on at the start of the season, hasn't shown as much as I'd like, and James Robinson's taken some of that. But again, we're talking about Michael Carter splitting with Breece Hall. So I'm not super high on Michael Carter or Jets in general, I guess. And I wouldn't play Juju over Etienne either. So I'm going to say Etienne and Dotson for me.
Excellent. George, what do you got right here?
Yeah, I'm going Dotson over Juju. Through 2 games, Juju's only gotten 11 targets. He's got 9 receptions, which is nice. But, I mean, he's only got 89 yards on those. So they're not even big-time targets. Like, they're just little dink-off targets. and reception. So I'm not starting Juju over Dodson. And for the flex, I'm going with ETN over Carter. I was really high on ETN, as was Jason. Wasn't expecting James Robinson to be the only player in NFL history to come back the very next season from a torn Achilles. Like, he's just an absolute freak. How this guy went undrafted, by the way, is a testament to the NFL scouting department in general, because this guy should never have gone undrafted. Yeah, I'm still going to give ETN. Said that they've had a couple of rough games to start, but I think ETN is the guy this week. So give me ETN and give me Johan Dotson.
ETN and Dotson. And then, Joe, what do you got right here?
No, you already went to me. I started.
I did. Okay. Alex, then. I apologize.
No problem.
Yep, I'm going to go with Dotson, and I just haven't seen enough from ETN. I loved ETN in the offseason, and I don't think there's enough there for him with James Robinson running as well as he has been. And like I said, I think there's still enough work out there for Michael Carter this week, because I don't think it's quite the breakout for Breece Hall. So I think I'm going Dotson and Michael Carter. And for my take on Juju, I'm not putting a Chiefs wide receiver in my lineup unless I absolutely have to, until I see something different, because none of them are worth anything right now. Juju had 3 catches for 11 yards last week. Like, I can't put that guy in my lineup.
Yeah, people keep talking about the situation in Green Bay, but I don't think a lot of people are really paying attention to that. This is the same exact situation happening in Kansas City that's happening in Green Bay right now. Is there's not a viable receiver that's stepping up and being a candidate to help you win football games that isn't named Travis Kelce. Like, at least they have Travis Kelce. Like, that's where maybe that separates them from Green Bay. But to me, it's almost the exact rest of the situation. So I'm with you. Actually, I take Dotson and Carter here as well. But it's actually pretty close. I do like Juju to have a decent week this week. It just seems like they've got to throw it to somebody out there, and I think it's going to start being him a little bit more. But you'd figure it already happened by now. And then we got an offer for Dirty Jobs. He says, week 4, the Frank and Stank, we play each other. He says he agrees he won't play as good players, but I have to agree to play my card, which is the Leprechaun card. So anything can happen with the Leprechaun card. And since this is kind of an anything that can happen type feel for me, I'm in, dude. I'm playing it. Let's do it. I'll play it against you, Steve. Let's do the Leprechaun card. I'm not scared, although I'm terrified now that I've said it out loud. But we'll do it. let's play ball, buddy. We'll dance. This I believe it has to be on Tuesday. So Justin, make a note that I'm playing the Leprechaun card this week. Not against my current opponent, not against you, Matt. I'll be taking Kyler Murray with a smile on my face from you here in about 12 hours from now. We got William Juarez says 1 receiver, 2 running back, and a flex. We got wide receiver Lazard, Deebo Samuel, McLaurin, Devonta Smith, or Elijah Moore. Running back CMC, Barkley, James Robinson, or Miles Sanders. So we need 2 running backs and a flex. So we'll start with let's start with the running backs here.
I'll start. I'm gonna go CMC and Barkley and James Robinson as my flex.
You like him over all the rest of these receivers right there.
Well, no, it says 1 receiver, 2 running backs, and a flex.
You're right.
So I'm going CMC, Barkley, James Robinson, and then Deebo. Yeah.
I agree. That's actually the same as me. Joe?
Yeah, agreed.
George?
Yeah. CMC, Barkley. I'm going to go Miles Sanders. I talked about him earlier. I really like Miles Sanders. He's actually doing for what fantasy players thought he would do when he was drafted. He's been absolutely balling out. So for the running back, CMC, Barkley, I'm going Sanders over Robinson. And yeah, you're not sitting Deebo. That's an easy one.
Well, so CMC and Barkley's the locked in. Deebo Samuel is locked in, and then it's this 4th one that everybody's dancing around. And I'm going to take Devonta Smith over one of these running backs as my flex. So I'm going to take Devonta Smith.
Man, McLaurin's really fallen down if you think about it.
Wow, right? Like, my how the mighty have fallen. Now watch McLaurin have just a day, too. We got Chad Ron says, I currently have Wentz and I'm struggling to decide if he should drop Julio and pick up Mariota this week. It's a 14-team non-PPR, and these guys vulture quarterbacks for some crazy reason.
Why are we hesitating on Wentz? I don't even understand why we would have. Again, he doesn't need to win the game. He can throw 5 interceptions, but if they're just going to let him fire it off, I don't know. That seems
I like Wentz this year. I liked Wentz when I found out he was going to Washington. I've liked him since. He's been doing great. Would anybody here, would they drop Julio to pick up Mariota and play him this week?
I don't, in general, have a problem dropping Julio because I think it's going to be this way all year where won't he play. So in general, I don't have a problem dropping Julio, but I wouldn't from Marcus Mariota over Wentz. I'd save it. I'd save that drop for a better player at a better time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind dropping Julio to pick up Mariota if you want the QB depth, I guess. That's fine, but I wouldn't start Mariota over Wentz. Wentz is he's like the number 3 quarterback or something ridiculous right now. So
yeah, he's been playing off the chain. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, don't be afraid to fire off your Wentz and be excited. But I mean, I would drop Julio for Mariota, especially if people are vulturing quarterbacks. Get a quarterback, get another one, stock up. Trade bait at the very worst. We'll go ahead and get back to a couple of these sleeper questions here. We got T2T says, I have Aaron Rodgers. Should I roll with him? Or
you tried to do that straight, huh? You were just gonna blow right through that.
Right. I didn't realize. I swear to God, I'm like Ron Burgundy, right? Where I don't read nothing until I'm reading it right now. And then so I'm like, did I just say that? By the time I got to player is where it actually hit my brain. But let's help this person out. And it says for a top waiver wire, Goff, Wentz, Mariota, Flacco, Jimmy G, or Chase Daniels is the other one. I told this person I'm rolling with Aaron Rodgers. Alex, who do you got here? Alex has mute button.
Okay, for now on, if somebody's muted, we don't tell them. Just let them talk.
Okay.
Sorry, the kids.
Everybody nod.
Everybody
nod expectantly.
The kids screaming in the background, so I didn't want to,
Yeah, no worries.
make everyone else tired. I would actually, I'd play Wentz or Goff over Rodgers this week. I don't know what's going to happen in that game. As much as it's hard to sit Aaron Rodgers in pretty much any situation. I think this is a week where I'd be just fine with grabbing somebody else and putting them in there. Because I think Wentz and Goff both have pretty good matchups this week.
Joe, who do you got right here?
Yeah, I echo exactly this week.
Okay.
Aaron Rodgers, the MVP of the NFL, that's great. Again, that has nothing to do with fantasy football. And even if Rodgers has a good game, it's not showing me that it's going to be fantasy numbers that we want. Where Carson Wentz could have a bad game, or Goff, they probably will have bad games from a winning-loss perspective, but fantasy-wise, they're going to throw it up there.
I like it. Jason, what do you got to say about that?
Give me Goff this week. I've got Goff 1 spot ahead of Wentz, and I've got them both. I've got Wentz 1 spot ahead of Rodgers. So, Goff for me.
Excellent, George. Who are you starting here?
So it's easy to bench Aaron Rodgers. It's super easy for me. I haven't been high on him coming into the season. I said in the preseason that Kirk Cousins would outscore him. I said Aaron Rodgers will not be a top 12 quarterback for fantasy this year. So far, all of that has held true. Through 2 games, Aaron Rodgers is averaging 12 fantasy points a game. It's been bad, really, really, really bad. Carson Wentz and Jared Goff, I would start both of them over Aaron Rodgers. I would start Marcus Mariota over Aaron Rodgers. I'm not high on it. Given the list, I would go with Jared Goff. He's got the better offensive line. They're going to give him protection. I honestly can't believe I'm about to say this, but I think Jared Goff actually has better weapons around him than Carson Wentz. And I like the weapons in Washington. But I would go Jared Goff in this, not even close.
I like it. I mean, I don't mind either one of those guys, but I feel like Aaron Rodgers is and always will be one of those quarterbacks that he's so good and he has the potential to do so much damage fantasy wise that you have to start him. But I agree with what you guys are saying. I think you got a great point.
So
we got JJ123. He says half PPR DJ Moore versus New Orleans or Scary Terry versus Eagles D. George, kick us off.
Give me DJ Moore. I don't like Baker. I was higher on Baker coming into the season. He hasn't looked good. But again, Darius Slay is going to cover Terry McLaurin all week long, and I will refuse to refer to him as Scary Terry because so far this year he hasn't scared anybody. The only one he's scaring is his fantasy owners. Like, you're scared to start Terry McLaurin this year, so he hasn't earned the nickname Scary Terry this year. I'm not going to call him that. Give me DJ Moore.
I'm laughing because you said he's going to be covering him all week long, and I'm thinking about him like Wednesday. He's going to the bank just to do some
going to the
And Darius plays like, no banking for you, man, not today. Jason, who do you got right here?
So it's tough for me because it's not like DJ Moore's played well, and Lattimore can cover DJ Moore okay too. So this one's tough, but I am off Terry because if nothing else, they've shown in Washington that the other two wide receivers can get it done, where I think that's less likely in Carolina. So I'm going to go DJ Moore as well in what is like the two of the most disappointing wide receivers so far for fantasy where you drafted them.
Absolutely. Yeah. You're not happy about either of these guys, and you definitely drafted them a lot higher than where this question is coming in from. Alex, who are you starting right here?
I'm going to go with McLaurin. DJ Moore. Well, Baker Mayfield looks abysmal out there. He looks terrible. So I'm going to go with McLaurin here over DJ Moore. Yeah, I'm gonna.
I like it. I feel like you could go either way again, and I don't think you're getting a good output either way. We got Tech Ninja says RB2 for full PPR. Jacobs versus Tennessee, Pierce versus Chicago, or whoever starts for Arizona. And I feel like Darrell Williams was actually the play for me right here. Jacobs coming back off that injury, and Pierce hasn't done garbage for me as far as I'm concerned. Joe, who do you got right here?
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, if Connor were to not play, Williams would be my favorite here. But I guess I go Jacobs and get my 60 yards and a touchdown and call it a day, hopefully.
There you go. Hey, that's a lot better expectations than I have for him. Alex, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to roll with Jacobs. If he's going to play, it wasn't an injury. It was just illness. So maybe he's a little, sluggish. But if he's out there and playing, he'll probably be he's going to be the lead back, I'm assuming. So I'm going to go with Jacobs.
Excellent. George?
I'm actually going to go Dameon Pierce here. And the reason why is he was on the field for 62% of the snaps last week compared to 37% for Rex Burkhead. He's starting to get the volume that we thought we'd have. Chicago's defense is not very good. They're 21st against the run. The biggest thing was Rex Burkhead was not involved in the run game or the passing game last week, as opposed to week one where he was heavily involved. I think this could be the breakout game that we see for Dameon Pierce. I'm going to go with Dameon Pierce here.
I don't mind that. Jason, what do you think about that?
No, I think I've been off Pierce all season. I haven't seen any reason to jump on now. I mean, George has good logic with what he's saying. He is starting to take over the role, but it's still for a bad offense. So I'm going to say Jacobs because I think his illness was being sick of watching the Raiders give the game away to the Cardinals. So I'm going to say Jacobs as well.
I can't believe the Raiders are favored in that game, to be honest with you.
It's about time, man. The Raiders are supposed to be really good this year, man. They just have not looked it yet, and it kind of sucks because, and I mean, I hate the Raiders, right? Like, I'm a Broncos fan through and through. I can't stand the Raiders, but I like them to be at least competitive, and especially when they made the moves that they moved with Devontae Adams and just getting that kind of that offensive line shored up the way they did. I felt like that was going to be a really good team, and they've had a lot of bad luck too going on their side as well. But I mean, luck doesn't win football games, right?
Hey, Mikey, real quick, I'm gonna it's noon. I got to keep the marriage intact here. I still got 2 kids awake, so I'm gonna drop. I appreciate it, guys. Hope everybody has a great week, And I'll see you guys next week.
Tear it up, buddy, and you enjoy your time with your family, and we will see you next week, Joe. And
for life, George, this was for you today. Little NWL.
And you can, like I said, you can catch us every Saturday night at 9:00. We do Dash of DFS, me and my man Joe down here. And then again, we'll see you next week on the Blitz as well. So thank you. We'll go ahead and keep on going here. We got our man Jesse Torres says Thielen or Gage or Shepard. And Jason, we're going to let you lead this one off.
I'm going to go Thielen here. Gage is still game time decision, so he hasn't been healthy, and his receptions have all been within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. He's getting like running back type receptions, but not doing anything good with them. Shepard is interesting, but you never know. That guy could trip over his own nuts. And I see Mike smiling down there. I had to double check to make sure I wasn't muted. And you guys aren't. We're all just staring at me. So
I was reading the chat down a little bit later. I just got up there where he got burgundied, like when I burgundied myself.
Yeah.
Right there.
So I'm gonna go with Thielen because I think Gage isn't catching anything deep, and Shepard could just get hurt and at a random time during out the game and be gone after 2 catches. So it's Thielen for me.
Excellent, Alex.
Yeah, it's Thielen for me too. I think this is a good bounce back game for him, to get a little bit more of that target share. Hopefully the new Vikings coaching staff watched the tape the last 2 weeks and went, hey, why isn't Adam Thielen catching any balls? Oh, because we're not throwing it to him. We should probably throw it to him a little bit more, especially with last week where they couldn't even move the ball basically, with Jefferson getting schemed out. So I think this is a good spot for Thielen to bounce back.
Yeah, like I said, I feel like that whole offense is primed for a tune-up. I think they're going to do really well. Jason or George, what do you think?
So I like Adam Thielen. Again, it's not an 8:00 game. So Kirk Cousins, he's not going to miss Bible study tonight. He's not going to miss the 9:30 bedtime. I've got a feeling about Thielen. I think he has a bounce back week. I'm going to go with Thielen here.
Okay, so that's 3-0 Thielen. We'll just go on with that one. We'll get to this next one. We got Chris's videos. He says, start Burrow or Herbert, with Herbert questionable. Burrow is at 1, Herbert is at 4, so he needs help. Man, I'm starting Burrow here. George, what do you think? You starting Herbert? This is crazy to have both these quarterbacks though in a 1 quarterback league. That's not a bad problem to have. Like I'm starting Burrow. George, are you?
So I'm really concerned about the offensive line for Cincinnati. Like that was supposed to be the one thing that, they were supposed to upgrade in the offseason. They did, and it just hasn't worked out. But I'm not going to be starting Herbert this week over Burrow. There's no guarantee that Herbert is playing. The game's at 4, Burrow's at 1. Take the safe option, go with Burrow.
Alex, you agree? Yeah.
Yep.
And what about you, Jason? Also?
I agree. Yeah, I agree. Look, the offensive line's terrible, but so is the Jets defense. Look, I think Burrow's going to have a good game.
I hear that offensive line has been eating light brunches together every day, kind of like how the receivers and quarterbacks have been getting along. So
bottomless mimosas. That
exactly. So I mean, that's exactly what a light brunch means. So we should see some improvement here, as they always say. That seems to work. Jesse Torres says McLaurin or Bateman today. Jason.
Bateman for me.
Bateman. George.
Yeah, it's Bateman for me as well.
Wow, McLaurin's getting no love today. Alex, are you also starting Bateman?
No, I'm going to go with McLaurin. I think this is his week to remind everyone why he's the higher paid wide receiver in that offense.
The F1 that he definitely is. So it's 2-1 Bateman against McLaurin on that one. Justin Stevens points out George has been called worse. I mean, I've probably called him something worse on this show. I'm not too sure which one were worse, what we called you that was worse, but I'm sure I've beat it. Jason Watson says, I've
been called worse today. So
yeah, that's what I was going to say. Probably by me in like the last 10 minutes. Even just in private chat. We got Jason Watson says, do I start Mike Williams or Drake London? And then do I play a bench player over Garoppolo? I read that wrong. I'm like, well, you definitely want to start Garoppolo over any bench players.
So no, but do we start Garoppolo over Mike Williams or Drake London, whichever one we don't pick?
Yes,
So it's
that's
either
exactly it.
okay.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah,
either
no,
start both wide receivers or one wide receiver and Garoppolo.
Correct. Pick 2.
Yeah. Oy vey. With Herbert not playing, I think I'm gonna go London and Garoppolo.
London and Garoppolo.
I think so.
Is that what you're saying too, George?
Yep, that's where I'm going. London and Garoppolo.
That's what I have, but I just wanted to double check to make sure I was, because you guys had talked up Williams earlier, and I started thinking, am I going crazy? Should I start Williams anyway? And I'm like, let's just ask the fellas.
Oh, there you go. I thought that name sounded familiar. No, I'm just kidding. I knew it was you. Yeah, I like Mike Williams here, Jason. I think even with the new quarterback, he does okay. I think I like Garoppolo over London. But I don't. That one's a little bit closer to me, but I just think it's going to be a volume play with the Garoppolo play. I like Williams over Drake London just because he'll be the primary receiver there. So,
and you do have time because Mike Williams is a 4:00 game and Garoppolo is the Monday night game or Sunday night game. They're late. Monday night. So you have time. So if Herbert goes, maybe Mike Williams. I don't know. That's going to be tough though. Yeah, because it's hard to put someone in there over a quarterback, even though it's Garoppolo. Yeah, that's tough. I don't know.
I'm setting my leagues as we're doing this, and I gotta talk about this real quick. I've got a league where I got Tom Brady, Keenan Allen, Chris Godwin, and Jeff Wilson all on my bench, and I'm starting guys like Marcus Mariota, Rashard Penny, and Gerald Everett over those guys in starting positions and flex positions. And it's only
why are you benching Jeff Wilson?
Because it's either him or Penny.
I think I'd go Wilson. Penny only got like 5 carries last week or something ridiculous.
Yeah, so in that mess that I mentioned above, I also had Penny, but I benched, like, he wasn't even in contention with those guys that I was mentioning. So I personally go Jeff Wilson over Penny. But
yeah, I'm not a big Penny guy this year.
I loved Penny coming into the season because I thought as long as he's healthy and getting the opportunities, he'd be, what we, at least part of what we saw last year. But, the last game, that scared the heck out of me when Walker came in and, well, they both only got like 6 carries or something like that. So I don't know. I can't put Penny in until I see something solid out of that backfield, some kind of differentiation.
Same. We got our man Justin checking in. He says Jacobs has been listed as healthy since he's been sick all week. Leave him in his flex or roll with the Dortch, the Mac Hollis, or with Renfro out. I think I'm gonna go with. I think I'm leaving Jacobs in my flex right here. Is that everybody else agree with that? George?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yep, Jacobs as well. So Justin, you're starting Jacobs. Andrew Miller says he's PPR. He's got tight end premium. He starts 2. Got Corey Davis, Damian Harris, Jeff Wilson, Gesicki, and Hurst. George, let's lead you off with this. Who are you starting?
Well, you guys talked me into Jeff Wilson. I do like I do like starting my running backs where I can, especially ones that are going to get guaranteed touches. So I will go with Jeff Wilson, and I'm also going to go with Damian Harris. Like Mike Gesicki and Hurst, I get the tight end premium where that makes them attractive. But outside of like 1 or 2 plays last week, so 2 or 3 for 469 yards. It took that for Mike Gesicki to get like 4 or 5 targets. Like, it's just absolutely ridiculous. They're not using him the way you think that they would have used him in the past. They're using him more as a blocker and a blocker downfield. So I'm not very high on Gesicki. I don't trust Hayden Hurst. I like Hayden Hurst as a guy. I like him as a football player, but I'm not trusting Hayden Hurst. Give me guys I know guaranteed touches. Give me Damian Harris. Give me Jeff Wilson.
And I am audio tagging that just for a quick minute for next year's potathon when I'm helping out there when I can get George to say he doesn't trust Hayden Hurst for the Hayden Hurst potathon.
It's too late.
Damn it.
And Jason, do you argue with that? Are we starting Harrison Wilson?
I am starting Harrison Wilson, but I do trust Hayden Hurst because he's got like the fifth or sixth most targets for tight ends this season so far. They are throwing it his way, and they have had to throw it his way because that offensive line is so bad. They have to get the ball out quick, and instead of throwing it to Joe Mixon, they've been throwing it to Hayden Hurst. That hasn't turned into touchdowns, obviously, but I still think Damian Harris and Jeff Wilson are better plays this week. But
volume plays.
It's
Alex,
volume.
do you agree?
Yep, I like goal line backs. I like backs who get carries on the goal line, and both of them
here.
do. So
Justin agreeing with Patterson will be a hell of a Trivial Pursuit question in the 2045 edition. Andrew Miller says Juju or DJ Moore in PPR. I'll lead this one off. DJ Moore for me. Jason?
I'm going to say DJ Moore.
Yep, I just can't get behind Juju. George?
DJ Moore. Yeah, I'm not on that Juju train at all.
Yeah, I agree. And Alex, do you have anything?
yeah, I can't trust the Chiefs receivers, any of them, until something else happens there. So
That's an
DJ
all
Moore.
4 for more for you right there, buddy. We got Will the Dawn. As soon as we can get it back up. Will the Dawn says start 2 full PPR CD Bateman, Wilson, DK, Curtis Samuel projected to lose by 1. First off, projections are garbage. I like being projected to lose because that's usually when I'm going to pull it off and win. I like to see the volume that I saw with CeeDee Lamb here, and I think I'm going to go with Curtis Samuel as my second one. Although it's really close between him and Wilson. George, who do you got?
I'm not sitting Garrett Wilson. I said that earlier in the show. I'm starting him if I have him. As long as Joe Flacco is the quarterback. That's the caveat. And I'm not sitting Bateman. Give me Bateman. Give me Wilson.
Bateman and Wilson. Okay, Jason.
I'm going CD and Bateman. So, like you said, I like the volume I saw. They're playing the Giants. That game, I think, should be a shootout. So I'm going to take CD there. And then Bateman's been my guy all day. I can't not start him now. So
I like it. Alex, who do you got there?
I'm going to go with CD and Bateman as well. Like I said, I've loved Wilson. I love the way he's getting looked at, especially with Joe Flacco back there. But I think Bateman's, I don't know. That's a close one. But definitely not DK. Probably not. Curtis Samuel's right there too with Bateman and Wilson. But I think I'm going to go with CD and Bateman. I think the offense is Bateman just is on a better offense than those other guys. So I'd like the touchdown upside better. And
I'm showing you that Rich Gonzalez agrees with both of you guys as well. So that'll make the 3-2 that you're looking for that majority. So you're going to want to start CD and Bateman. Justin says we do beautiful work and sacrifice what precious time you have to help others. Thank you. Yeah, definitely. I can't set a lineup without you. I love it, man. And that's how we like to get people right there. We want you knocking at our door at 2:00 in the morning saying, hey man, I need that fantasy advice. I need to know who to start. And I mean, you might not get one of us, but you'll definitely get one of our boys from down under that are always at the ready when we're all out there sleeping. They're out there ready to get things done for you. So definitely appreciate having everybody on the T2T train. We've definitely had a lot of fun. Like Rich says, make sure you guys like and subscribe. 1,000 is doable with all of you watching out here today. And then again, I got Burgundy, man, I'm telling you. So now that you all know that, please don't take advantage of that because I promise you, you'll get me every single damn time.
What you don't see when he talks about sacrifice is like right after this, all of us just log off this thing as fast as possible. We don't even say goodbye because all of us have 10 plus lineups to go set. So like when you're talking about sacrifice, that's it. As soon as we're done here, I try and do some before, but with all the injuries and stuff that come through on the show, it's like, man, I got to go double check all these.
Well, and on top of it too, like I'll be set in like 5 different players before this show. And one of you guys will say something and then I'm like curious and then you'll say it again. And then I'm like, by the end of it, I'm like, God, I got to get my guy out of my lineup. Like you got me talked out of it. And I mean, it's uncanny how often this team right here is right though. I'm telling you, we ain't leading you astray here. Will Dodani says start 2, Eckler, Barkley, Edwards, PPR league. I'm starting the first 2. Anybody else getting outside of that? Eckler, Barkley? Are we getting? I'm assuming that's Clyde Edwards-Helaire, right? Is that who we're talking about? CDH.
I would assume.
Yeah, go Barkley. I like CEH, but I'm not starting him over Eckler or Barkley.
Correct.
Yeah, I don't think I could start him, even though Eckler hasn't been getting quite the kind of work I want him to be getting, because they've been taking him out on the goal line for like Sony Michel and stuff. But I think I still got to ride with Eckler until, maybe one more week. And if CEH goes off this week and Eckler's still kind of middling in that, end of RB1, early RB2 territory, it might start changing. But I think for now I'm going Eckler and Barkley.
I think that this is a good week for Eckler because injured Herbert is going to check it down more often, or
Chase Daniels.
Or a Chase Daniels is going to check it down more often. I think that
That's
both
true.
of those bode well for Eckler this week.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
like that logic.
And with that, guys, that's going to go ahead and wrap it up. We got all our questions answered there. And I just kidding. Robert Trauma says, wait, don't shut it down yet. And I was just messing with Bobby Pigskins a little bit there. We're definitely not shutting it down yet, Bobby Pigskins. We got you. He says, pick 2 running backs. He says, half PPR, Dylan, Pollard, James Robinson. We got Pierce. We got Harrison Hines, please and thank you. Jason, since you're the one who saved him and bailed him. But I'm just kidding. I really was just doing that to screw with the guy. Which 2 running backs are you picking right here, buddy?
Oof. I think I'm going to take Pollard and Dylan. And I'm sad I'm not playing Harris, but I think I'm going to take Pollard and Dylan on this one.
And I'm in the same exact boat, and I'm sad I'm not playing James Robinson too. What about you, Alex?
I'm going Dylan and James Robinson.
I get that. Like I said,
Yeah, I don't know how you can sit James Robinson right now, man. He looks like
Pollard right now. I mean, I'm on the fence about all 3 of those guys. This is a great running back trio or quintuplet to have right here. I like it a lot. George, what do you?
I would actually put Damian Harris in over Pollard for me, but
oh wow. What about you, George?
I love his running backs. I'm gonna go with Pollard and Robinson here, though.
Pollard and Robinson for you as well. Okay.
So I'll switch to Pollard and Robinson and make it so it's 3-1 instead of 2-2.
3-1 against me. Okay, well, I'll stand on my Dylan and Pollard hill all by my lonesome then. We got Dustin says, how do we feel about Jonathan Taylor bouncing back this week? They have got to figure out that on that team to be successful, they have to run the football. The coaches know it. They've got to at least start getting going in that direction. Does anybody think that Jonathan Taylor has another down week? Jason or Alex, what do you think? You think he's back this week?
No, he'll be fine. I think that was just a weird fluky week. The Colts don't know how to play the Jags for whatever reason, and the Jags always get the better of them. So
they always have their number. Jason, do you think he's down for a week, or do you think he's going to come back?
I mean, talent's there. It would take a monumentally bad coaching staff to do that 2 weeks in a row, and we've seen that they're not that. Look what they did last year with him. So they know how to use him. They screwed up last week, and it should get rectified.
Yep, I absolutely agree. So we're happy with that. And then Bobby Pigskin's coming back saying happy Sunday. Definitely happy Sunday, buddy. There you go. We got Bobby Pigskins asking, how confident are you in Gabe Davis? I'm going to throw mine out there. I'm going to say about 40 to 50%. I don't think we get a full Gabe Davis back, and I'm still a little bit high on Isaiah McKenzie as a result. Jason, what do you got here?
I've been picking him all day, so I'd say 80%. Like I've been picking him over some good players like Garrett Wilson, guys like that. So I'm high on him this week. I think he's going to be just fine. And that Miami defense is terrible. Like the secondary is bad.
Yep, they haven't been getting it done very well. They've definitely been winning shootouts, but it's not been as a result of great defense.
I'm more with you, Mike. It's like a 40 to 50% chance that he's the Gabe Davis that we want him to be. Just because of how long that injury lingered out throughout the week, and he sat because of it last week. So I would, if I could, get someone else in there over Gabe Davis. I think I have to play him in a couple of my lineups just because of who I have behind him. But for the most part, he's going to be on my bench until I see that he's back 100%.
I like it. We got one problem at a time saying he's got a trade question. He's looking to sell high on Garrett Wilson, that's what you want to be doing right now. He's weak at running back, strong at wide receiver. What running back should we be targeting with Garrett Wilson? Jason, you're really good at these. What do you think? Who you targeting here?
So I dislike this type of question, like only because I don't know who's on his team that you can pair Garrett Wilson with in order to go get a stud. I don't know who's like started 0-2 and looking for a change. CEH is one for me in that range. Like you probably have to put a little bit of something with it, Garrett Wilson, but I think he is on the upswing, but he's a guy that people still have reservations about. So like if you're looking to sell high on Garrett Wilson, like CEH is the type of player you may have to give a little bit, like something small with it and still go and get him. But I think you can get some CEH out of that. But George is better with trades than I am. He knows how to fleece some folks. So George, go with it.
I know how to fleece folks. Wow.
He knows how to fleece some folks. I like it.
So, yeah, I agree with Jason. I'm not a big fan of these types of questions because we don't know who you have on your team for starters. Every league is different. What I would do is I would look at the teams that are thin at wide receiver, and I would target one of their running backs. This way, it helps your team because you said you're heavy at wide receiver, and thin at running back. They're the opposite. So that's the first thing I look for at a trade partner. As far as fleecing them, I don't know.
He tries to fleece you. I'm in a lot of leagues with George too.
I absolutely do not.
I have a running back.
Who do you got there, Alex? Who do you name?
I would say go talk to the James Robinson owner and see if maybe they're skeptical about the production already, and maybe it's they think ETN's going to come on. Maybe they were big ETN guys or something. But I think James Robinson would be a decent name to at least go and talk to him and see how they're feeling about it. Maybe they're short for receiver, and you could. But I think CH is a decent answer too. You probably have to give up a little bit more for CEH because he's been performing really, really well. But he's got limited usage too, so it's not like it's coming on high volume. It's very efficient work. So they could be like a little skeptical about it as well. But I think James Robinson would be a good place to start.
Yeah, I like AJ Dillon in this answer as well. I think AJ Dillon's a guy you could get out there and sell with Garrett Wilson fairly handily, and I feel like he's a guy that's on the downside of things and is on his way up. We got about 10 more questions here, guys. We're going to go ahead and start rapid firing, and we're running out of time here. We got about 10 minutes. We got Wilson or Mariota, Alex?
Wilson.
Jason?
Yeah, I disagree with Jason. I'm going to go with Mariota.
I like that. I'm gonna go with Wilson here myself. So that's 2-1. Wilson versus Mariota since Jason was not there. We got Chris Lazarus. We said full PPR, Josh Jacobs and Juju. That went perfect. I'll start this one off. I'm gonna start Josh Jacobs. George?
I'm going Josh Jacobs. Never Gaskins, never Juju.
Never Juju. I like it. Alex, do you agree?
Jacobs.
And what about you, Jason?
I'm not muted. I'm going to go Josh Jacobs.
I was going to say, I don't think he's muted this time. We got our man Oswaldo saying he needs one wide receiver. He needs a wide receiver, 2 and a flex. His choices are Ayuk, Julio, Burks, Dotson, Pierce, Mooney, Hall, and Lockett. Alex, start us off.
All right. I'm going Dotson, Ayuk, and Hall.
Who do you like right here, Jason?
I'm going Ayuk, Burks, and Dotson.
I like it. What about you, George?
Ayuk, Burke, and Dotson. Excuse me.
We know what George is thinking about.
And I'll actually lean with that one too. I like Ayuk, Burks, and Dotson myself. I think those are going to be the guys that get you the volume plays today. We says, do we think Herbert is going to play, or do I bench and grab Cousins? Get Cousins off the waivers for starters, because I feel like Cousins is going to be popping this week. I think Cousins is going to be one of the starts of the week, possibly top 5 production. Anybody got an argument for that?
No, I'm super high on Kirk Cousins this week. Detroit is 29th against opposing quarterbacks on the season. it's not a 8:30, 7:30 kickoff, so the old man will be able to get home and get his beauty sleep. I say fire him up this week.
I love it. Yep, the Kirk Cousins beauty sleep. Do you flex any of these running backs over DJ Moore, half PPR, or be cautious and bench Gabe Davis?
It's these running. I found it for us. It's these running backs right here.
Gotcha. Thank you so much. Good grab right there because I had no idea what was happening next. Do
you flex DJ Moore over any of these guys?
I would. So I picked Dylan and J-Rob, and I would play Harris over DJ Moore.
Yeah, I think I'm sticking with Dylan and Pollard here. What about Jason? You agreed with that take, right? You had Dylan.
Well, so I did. So I think he's saying for the third guy, would you pick one of these running backs over DJ Moore? Because I did Dylan and Pollard, and now would I play James Robinson, Pierce, Harris, Hines over Moore? I would play Robinson. I would play Robinson over Moore. So for me, it would be Dylan, Pollard, and Robinson.
I agree with that. Actually, 100%. I'd play Robinson over Moore as well. George.
Pollard, Robinson, and DJ Moore. I do not like Dylan this week going up against Tampa. Like I said, if he's not involved in the passing game, like that Tampa defense has shut down some of the best running backs in the league. So,
we got Dustin says CD, Dortch, or Burks. I'm playing CD. What about you, George?
I'm going to go with Burks here.
Burks here. Jason?
CD for me.
And Alex?
CD.
That's 3D for CD right there. Don't listen to George. We got Nate Wallen says play 2 in DFS since he got an early Christmas present today.
I'm not. He's been horrible against the Bills traditionally. I get it's a different. Listen, they're missing their entire secondary. They've got Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Like the Dolphins have a great offense, but traditionally, Tua has just played very, very poorly against the Bills. I'm not going to play Tua in DFS.
Not if I can help it. Yeah, I'll be playing him I'll play him in redraft, but definitely not in DFS. If anybody playing, he says 3 or 4 of their starters are out.
Yeah, no, I would play Marcus Mariota in DFS over Tua.
Gotcha. We got Andrew Miller saying, what's up, Nate? By the way, Nate's another T2T guy. I love seeing him on here. We got Andrew Miller says Lazard, Shepard, Connor, or Penny in PPR. Alex.
Oh man. Well,
it's ugly.
Yeah, I guess I would go Lazard.
Lazard for you, George.
So I'm actually leaning Shepard here, which is kind of crazy. He had 10 targets last week against the Panthers, finished with 6 for 34. Should be the prime target for Daniel Jones because I don't know what happened to what's his name, the guy that they signed. I can't even remember his name. That's how irrelevant.
Galladay, yeah.
Kenny Holiday, because he's been on holiday ever since he got that.
Ever since he signed that fat contract, there ain't no doubt about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Shepard. Give me something to watch Monday night. Get me a little more invested in that game as well.
There you go, Jason. What is your take here?
Shepard's interesting because of Galladay and because I think Tony's out as well. And Wan'Dale Robinson hasn't played well, so he is interesting. I do still think Lazard. I think, like I said all show, I think somebody's going to have to catch the ball for Green Bay. George. Go ahead, George. Well, Aaron Jones, yeah, but they're going to have to throw it to a wide receiver, and I think it's going to be Lazard.
And I'm leaning Shepard here as well. I like Shepard a lot. I think, like George said, I think he's got the uptick in targets. He'll probably give you at least 3 quarters before he gets hurt for the season again. Just because that's what Shepard does. He comes out here, he balls out, he leaves it all on the field, literally leaves it all on the field, and he doesn't show up till next year. Nate thinks you look like you're wearing an Eagles jersey, George. And he also says he misses us, and we miss you too, Nate. Although I don't miss you. I catch you every Wednesday on on Dollars to Deuces. Is one of my favorite shows him and Rich are on. It's all about gambling lines and things like that, man. I love hearing them. They're pretty damn good at what they do. We got Nate also asking, he says, Waller, Mike Williams, Stubbs, London, and Higgins were picking 3. Jason, lead us off here.
London and Higgins are going to be my first 2, and then I'm probably gonna lean Waller for my 3. I haven't seen what Waller's usage. Just to be straight up honest, I haven't seen a lot from Waller, and I haven't seen somebody can bail me out.
They're facing the Titans, who are very, very stingy against the tight end as well. Like I think they've allowed like 70 yards in 2 games combined. So
then London, Higgins, and Mike Williams for me.
I like that. That's actually what I'm leaning on, George.
So I'm trying to look up Waller's usage the last couple of weeks. I agree with Higgins and I agree with London. Those are locks for me. God, it comes down to Waller or Mike London or Waller or Mike Williams for me. I think I'm going to go Waller here. He had 6 targets week 1, 8 targets week 2. He got the touchdown last week. Yeah, Tennessee, they are stingy against the tight end. I agree there, and it's at Tennessee, but I still think Waller is gonna have a decent game. So give me Waller as the third one.
Waller as the third, and I like that. So we went with the other 2 on that side. Alex, what is your answer here?
I'm with you guys. Mike Williams, London, and Higgins.
I like it. And then Robert says, are we sure Russ over Mariota? I think Russ has the higher upside. I think Mariota has a tougher matchup. That's the only reason I'm on Russ over Mariota. What do you say, Alex?
I am not absolutely sure, but I'm going to go with the talent of Russ Wilson over Mariota.
Amen. Anybody else got anything else to say on that?
I've got Mariota starting in about 3 leagues right now. But those are guys like Jameis Winston and Tom Brady that I've benched.
Right.
So,
and he also says we're the best. Good luck. Yep, good luck today. This is great right here. He says Son still has one if he has time. Lockett, Elijah Moore, or Mooney start one. I'm actually starting Lockett. He had a little bit of volume last week. I think he did pretty good. Jason, you're nodding your head. Do you agree?
Yeah, I completely agree.
And what about you, George?
I hate the fact that Justin uses his son as an excuse to ask this question, but this is Lockett.
And what about you, Alex?
Lockett.
Agree. And then he says he'll give him advice, but his son doesn't trust him. I can only relate to that because they'll always take somebody else's advice over yours. And he says he appreciates it, killing it. Then he says, give him Mariota over Russ. Russ hasn't cooked yet. I always say Russ starts week 7. He doesn't start playing football. I just feel like he can play enough football to outdo Marcus Mariota. And then one more right here, and we'll call it a day, is Derrick Henry. We're starting. Derrick Henry's like always worth starting. You don't sit Derrick Henry. You drafted him. Oh, we got one more after that. We drafted him because we start him. We start Derrick Henry. Anybody argue with that? Is anybody benching Derrick Henry? And if they are, I want to know for who. No, we're all playing. T-Dog Crew does also ask, pick 2, Cooks, Allen, Michael Thomas, or Gabe Davis. Alex, lead us off and lead us out of here.
Let's see. Well, Keenan Allen's probably not going to play. MT is a definite start for me. And I think I'm going to go Cooks over Gabe. Yeah.
I agree with that. It's actually Thomas and Cooks for me too. Jason?
Are you sure, Jason? I don't know about that.
I am Cooks and Gabe Davis.
And then what about you, George?
For me, I am going to be Michael Thomas and Gabe Davis.
Michael Thomas and Gabe Davis. So it looks like the majority went with Thomas and Cooks, but I do like any combination. And again, Keenan Allen's out, so that's pretty damn easy. Woo, boys, that was a heck of a run. That was a heck of another blitz. We put in the 2 hours. We got and Rich is nodding his head too. George, what you got for us, buddy?
I got one of our patrons that just messaged me, wants to know who we like this week. Hall, Damian Pierce, or Jeff Wilson? Full PPR.
Jeff Wilson.
Oh, Wilson and Pierce for him. So that was 2-1 Wilson to Pierce. I said Pierce.
What you got, George?
I'm going to go with Jeff Wilson as well. So we'll do 3-1 there. And then I do have one question, and this is a question for one of my leagues.
You mean it's your son?
No, my son doesn't like football. I don't know. I'm going to disown him. Would you guys drop Julio Jones for Brashard Perryman?
No.
I would.
To play this week? To
Yeah.
like spot
I
start?
mean, do you desperately need a starter?
I do desperately. Like I
Then-
do my bench, but it's not pretty because they're all either suspended or injured.
I mean, I hate to say it, but like I might even play Cole Beasley over Perriman this week.
So here's my
that's not crazy. I think Cole Beasley comes out and he's got something to prove, and I think that's right up Tom's alley. I think he likes guys like Cole Beasley. So, but I don't mind grabbing Brashad Perriman either. I think I like him over Julio Jones rest of the season.
So I would have to drop Julio because he's not going to play.
Yeah,
and
get rid of Julio. That's okay.
are in this league, and my bench is Michael Gallup, Romeo Doubs, Jamison Williams, DeAndre Hopkins, and Jameis Winston.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm beat up right now, which I knew I would be coming in with Gallup and Hopkins. I just wasn't expecting everything else.
Like
Right.
So this is the CBS league.
No, this is the given
Okay.
league for
Okay, so Beasley might be there. I would take Beasley over Perriman, but that's your, but yeah, if you have to have a starter, both of them could be okay.
Okay.
And then we got one last one here. We got Christian Kirk or Gabe Davis today. And George will let you fire this one off.
For me, this is going to be Christian Kirk. I absolutely love Christian Kirk. I think you're getting more on the return from where you drafted him than basically any player right now. So give me Christian Kirk.
Jason, do you argue?
I've said Gabe Davis so much, but I think I'll take Christian Kirk here over Gabe Davis.
I like it. When Alex, what about you, buddy?
Kirk.
That's a 4 Kirk for that. And with that, guys, make sure you are following us at toiletstotitles.com. Make sure you join that Patreon with us at toiletstotitles.com or patreon.com, /toilets to titles. Sorry, we've been talking for like 2 straight hours. Make sure you get in there. It's got all kinds of different tiers that are way fun. You get into the Discord. It gives you guys access to these lovely gentlemen every single day of the week, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We're always on there, sitting there chatting, doing fun stuff. And again, go to that toiletstotitles.com for the best articles and videos and fantasy stuff in the league. Make sure you guys are liking and subscribing. Get on that YouTube. Give us those 5-star reviews on Apple. Those things go really well for us, and it looks like we got this guy just in the nick of time. We've got pick 1 flex BPR, Dobbins, Juju, or Etienne. George will let you hit this one, and then we're going to go ahead and close this out.
I'm going to go J.K. Dobbins here.
Dobbins. What about you, Jason?
I'm going to wait and see on Dobbins, and I'm going to say Etienne.
Etienne. What are you thinking, Alex?
Yeah, I'm with Jason. Etienne.
Etienne for me as well. So that's 3-1 Etienne to Dobbins. Good luck today, Nick. And good luck today, everybody. We hope you get out there. We hope you win. We want you guys to get through this week 3 with some victories. And then we will see you guys same bat time, same bat channel next week on the Blitz. Thank you all very much. We'll see you then.